What's up, everybody? It's AJ with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be checking out the Retrax Pro MX Hard tonneau cover. It's going to roll up into a canister in the bed of your truck, and today we're going to be installing on your 2023 Chevrolet Silverado 3500. This is going to be a hard tonneau cover, so right away, it's not the soft vinyl. I can knock on it. It's really heavy duty, really easy just to walk it back. It stores in its own canister here in the bed of your truck, so it is going to take up a little bit of bed space here with that canister, but there's still space underneath it, so if you have those longer items that you still want to slide in the bed, you can do that and not have to worry about it. Now on a smaller truck bed, sometimes the canisters take up too much space, but since you have an 8-foot bed, this is going to be great. It only stays up here, it only takes up a little bit of the front of the cab, you still got that space underneath like we talked about, and it works really well with the fifth wheel you saw here in the middle too. So for instance today, when the vehicle came in before we installed it, it snowed, so the truck bed was full of snow. Now you would have that and the fifth wheel all frozen with ice on there. It'd be kind of hard to use it when you needed to go use it if you needed to. So the fact that now you have a tonneau cover, you can slide that, cover it up, and don't worry about the elements getting in your truck bed or on the fifth wheel. Another advantage to the canister style means nothing's going to roll up and take up any of your window space, so that's also important when using it with the fifth wheel. Backing up to it, you don't have to worry about when it's pulled. Sometimes you have the tri-folds and they'll lean against the back here, or even the roll-up tonneau covers will take up a little bit of space here. With the canister, everything's going to be down here, so you're never going to lose any visibility. The whole cover's going to be made out of aluminum with a black powder coat finish on it, so it's going to be able to hold up to those elements. Now they say fully evenly distributed, it can hold up to 500 pounds. I wouldn't test it. Now it would be okay to set a boxer up, something on there while you're dropping the tailgate, but also that's 500 pounds evenly distributed, so not just in one spot. Another thing is it glides around these tracks with bearings in there, so as you pull it back and forth, it has a nice slide to it. You don't have to worry about it getting caught, and you can stop it anywhere you need to. So that's kind of nice too when it compared to tri-folds where you have those set spots where you stop it. Let's say you only want to cover up this much of the bed. You can set it here, push this down into place, and now it's locked. You can't move it back and forth. It's not going anywhere. Just hit the button, bring the handle back up. Now we can move it all the way to the back if we need to. You also see that it's a low profile. I like that. It doesn't add a whole bunch to your rails, maybe an inch. So that looks nice. It looks factory like it's supposed to be there. You also have clamps that you have. That's what's going to attach it to the rails here on the inside. Not too bad to install. Check out how I did it. First thing we want to do after we've taken the canister out of the box is remove our bracket here for shipping. You're going to want to save this, so set it aside. You just got a screwdriver. Just back this screw out here. Then we'll also remove the tube from the canister after that. Slide it off, and then just rip the tape on the tube and bring it out. Now we'll attach the rails to our canister. The way I got it set up right now, I've already installed the passenger side, so we're going to show you how to do it here on the driver's side. So what you need to do is unlock the latch on your cover. You need to pull it out just a little bit because we're going to have to run these into the track on the inside of our rails. That way the cover is in the rails before we attach them to the side of the canister. Now I'm going to pull the cover out. On the inside of these bars there's going to be a track. I can flip it around and show you here. This is what we're running those into so that we can attach this up here. So just line that up. Might help to have somebody hold the other side or prop up the back side of it so it just easily slides into the track. Just enough to slide this up into place. So these tabs on the rails are the ones we want to line up on the inside. So I've already put them on the inside of the track, but you can see one's here and one's here. And we need it to be here and here. So I still need to bring the rails back a little bit more. Let's lift up on that, slide them back into place. Now we got our mounting screws. We're going to run those into the holes I pointed out earlier as long as the tab of the rail is behind there, because that actually has the threads on there. So you might have to push down on this end a little bit to line that up as you run the screw in. Now we'll get our second mounting screw. Now we'll get our second screw into place. Same thing, line up the tab. It's going to be easier if you get the first one installed because it's going to help hold it in place. But you might have to push down just a little bit or look before you run that screw in just to make sure the holes are lined up with the rails. And once we've done that, we'll do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to take the back plate and put that under the rails. You're going to see the holes on each side. We're going to line these up, put these on the rails, set it up into place. Then we got the 2 screws for that, and use the Allen wrench to run those in. Make sure you install those on both sides. Now with some help from some friends, we're going to lift the canister and set it into place. Walk it back. Push it up towards the cab, and I think I got it from here. Thanks, guys. One thing to look out for when setting the canister into place is make sure this weather strip is up and on top of the rails. So keep an eye on that while you're adjusting back and forth. Now we'll come back here. We have our shims in place. So that's this plastic piece that you pulled off earlier. This was part of the shipping packaging that it was drilled onto or screwed onto. So what we're going to do is take this thinner part and you want to put it in between the tailgate and the rails. It's just going to make sure there's enough space in between there so this can close and not make contact, but know that it's right there where it should be. So we're going to do this on both sides, and once that's spaced out, we can continue. Now we're ready to add our clamps. Suggest widening them as much as you can, unscrewing this so you have more space, because you're going to put this up in between the adjustment screws. So I do like that it tells you exactly where to put your clamps on the front and the rear. So we'll just set this one on. You want the longer end on the back side because it's going to clip up underneath the rail. I've pushed it up as much as I can. I'll start hand tightening it just so it can hold itself before I tighten it with the wrench. Now I'll come back with the wrench and further tighten it down. Now once you got it all set up, there might be some minor adjustments. I recommend measuring at the front from the inside rail to inside rail, here closer to the center clamp and towards the back. Try and get those measurements as close as possible to each other. That way you know when you pull this out, it's going to slide like it should, nice and easy, towards the back of the truck bed. And the adjustments you're going to have to make is if you do need to bring the rails out or push them in a little bit more, you can take these clamps off, and wherever you need to adjust, you have the adjustment screws here. These are the white plastic screws. You got an Allen head wrench that came with the tonneau cover. So you'll push those in. If you need to do some turns on those, it'll push the rails out. So those are the small adjustments you can make to make sure it comes out nice and even. Let's test it, bringing it out. Works pretty easily. I did have to make some adjustments. It got snagged up in the middle originally, so I went back and adjusted some of the adjustment screws here in the center, but overall feels like it slides in and out pretty easily. Now, let's close the tailgate, make sure that works. Okay, it hits on the strip underneath like it's supposed to. It didn't make any contact with the rails. Those plastic spacers really help you nail that part. It's not as much measurements or anything. You just slide that into place, and that's why we did it so much earlier. And now, you know, this closed. Let's go ahead and open it. Just double check. Gonna close it one more time. Yep, looks good. Now when it comes to attaching our drain tubes, we're going to take that, push it up in the cutout at the bottom of the canister. You're going to push up and twist. It'll click into place, and that way you know it's not going anywhere. Now we did have to do some slight modifications. We didn't have to drill any holes, but we got a barb fitting for the end of the drain tube. Put that in there and ran through one of the holes in the bottom of the bed. That way we didn't have to drill any additional holes. So I just suggest getting a barb fitting if you do have that same cutout. Another thing I will point out is you don't want any bends in the tube. So there was a lot of extra tube, so it kind of bent at one portion. I did cut some of the tube off just so we'd have better water flow out of the bed. Overall, not too bad to install. It didn't take me that long. The hardest part was getting those adjustments from side to side to make sure it was able to roll out and roll in easily and evenly. Overall, I do like this tonneau cover. I like that it's a hard tonneau cover. I don't have to worry about anybody getting in there, especially since it locks and the tailgate locks. It's a good combination to keep everything in there safe. And the fact that it works with the fifth wheel, as you saw in there, don't have to worry about it getting damaged by the elements or anything. I can always just pull the tonneau cover up, lock it, and leave it be. Well, I think that does it. Thanks for hanging out, and hope this helped.